La forza dell'essere presente. The strength that comes from being present. This is something that comes very clear in your work. Can you tell us something about it?
I can tell how we become weak. So we become weak when we become eager. Then we lose our center. And as soon as we center ourselves and get recollected, we gain strength. Now, in the work of family constellations, sometimes we are tempted to become very active, you see. And then we lose strength. And if we wait and get centered and get in tune with the other, then slowly we become calm and we are ready for the work. And the client also is ready for the work. And then at that moment we allow in the constellations the movements to develop all by themselves, or mostly by themselves. And they have strength, because nobody is interfering from outside. Therefore, strength comes from within, and by being in connection with one's own center.
And so, for instance, what would you recommend students that are coming from a cognitive point of view, or from a cognitive background? What would you recommend them to do? What are they going to do with their knowledge?
Well, the approach here is that if you rely on your knowledge, you are no longer in contact with reality as it is. So with your knowledge, you become weak. You gain new knowledge in the presence. Once you allow yourself, you expose yourself to what is just in front of you, and suddenly you know what to do, and you also know how to do it with strength.
How can a student trust that what appears from what it's manifested in the present and from the present, it's not something that is just a fantasy, because it takes courage, right? How can someone which is beginning to feel that comes from the present can really trust it?
Well, when you are eager to do something, you just stop for a moment. Then you stop for another moment, and even for another moment. And suddenly you get calm, and you will be surprised how clearly suddenly you see what will be the next important step.
And how did Bert came to realize the strength that comes from being present to what is? Because you have quite a background.
Well, like every cow, I started as a calf. So I made my mistakes, and I had my going astray sometimes. And that I came back slowly, and that is human, you see. By trial and error, we find our way, and we must not be afraid of making errors. Very often you can see if a helper is not quite sure what to do, so even the client helps him to go on. They experience that too,
yes,
isn't it?
Of course. Yes.
So you trust the field, not only yourself, you see, and the field gives strength to you.
Yes. It takes a lot of courage to be present where nothing happens, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of courage to either withdraw or to have the courage to go with the one movement that comes from within and maybe say something or maybe even suggest a movement. It takes a lot of courage. And I found that the scary thing is to be no one.
Mm-hmm. See, the main obstacle is that you think, what do other people think? Or what do other people expect? Or perhaps what will they criticize? Then you're out of no longer connection with what is present. You see? You forget all that. And in the present, if you wait, you know after some time what to do. But you have situations where nothing moves on, you see. Then you have to become active. And you also sense that when you have to step in. And you step in very often by bringing in another person. And you just put a person there, even if you don't know. You see, and at that moment, the movement can go on. And so you, step by step, you find your way until the basic movement becomes apparent. And when that movement has started, you have done your work.
No. And the other difficulty, perhaps, is that some kind of doubt comes in my mind or in our mind. It goes like, is this essential movement that is shown in a constellation going to be enough for a client? How are we going to trust that it's going to be everything which is needed and it doesn't take more explanation or more understanding or something like that? How are we going to trust that?
You see, you stop when the energy is most tense, you see. At the height of the energy, you stop. And then the client goes with all this energy. He may even be angry, it doesn't matter, it's also energy. Now, if you think it's not enough and you intervene or you give an explanation, he loses strength. So you trust that strength. Once that strength has appeared, the strength guides you and guides the client.
Yeah.
And of course I have a rule, you see. Everything that leads to more strength is good. Everything that will cause the strength to diminish, get lower, you stop. You never go there. Just at the height, you stop. And there's more strength. And then at that moment, you're also in the present.
So in a way, not only the present as a strength, but the present is a teacher somehow, and this is very, very new for many people.
Yes, yes.
In this way, we would say that the present is the very root of creation. If I don't go too much philosophical, but whenever out of the present comes a movement, it's a new movement. And it has the elements of creation in it, isn't it?
Yes. See, whenever you look to the future and you want to, you find out what happens in the future, or you doubt the future, or you're afraid of the future, you lose strength. If you don't think of the future at all, but only at the present moment, then you know one step, you see? And that one step is another presence. But you don't look for the next one, you just wait there until from the presence the next step is suggested. You take that one step. And you are present all the time with strength.
And with that, you stay with something which is transforming itself continuously.
Yes.
In ways that we don't know.
Yes. And you're just present. You don't have to push it, you see. It moves by itself in a way. And sometimes you intervene when something weakens, it's out of contact, out of connection, no longer. There's no longer a presence in there. So you bring in a new presence, you see. For instance, a new person.
A new element.
A new element, exactly.
Yes. And again, this new element is not just to find a solution, but it's as a response to something which is set in motion, and that our intuition can allow us to envision somehow, to feel that there is one more element now.
You see, if I listen to what you said, it's quite clear. They tell it's on their own feet and they will do well.
Okay, so when are you going to come to Italy? When are you going to come to Italy again for a congress, or to bring some of your teachings
have
again?
Failed in such a way that they can no longer go on by themselves, but that will never be the case. So I trust you and all those who organize this workshop and you help there, that you will do something great. And I'm with you with well-wishing, but I stay back and watch how you move on with strength in the presence.
Thank you very much.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Good.